Good afternoon. My name is Avram Kluger, and I am a Director of Development here at Lawrence Technological University. I'm here with my friend,
Stan Harris, and we're going to get into a little dialogue here about our relationship and what I've done here at Lawrence Tech over the years.
That sounds perfect. So anyway, Stan, first of all, thank you for coming, and glad you're here to be with us. So this is being filmed for the LTU Giving Day, which takes place this year on April 4th.
Okay.
And the idea is that for one day of the year, we hope that all alumni and friends of the university think about Lawrence Tech and thinking about giving and giving back to this university and really making it become and achieve what it's meant to be, a premier STEM university in North America. So a couple of questions, just so everyone can get to know you a bit.
Okay.
So the first one is, what is your connection to Lawrence Tech?
Well, I came here in 1968 as a faculty member after teaching at Wayne State University, and at the time I had over 11 years of experience at General Motors. And I joined the faculty in the College of Management, taught for a number of years, became an administrator, had held a number of different administrative positions over the years, returned to the faculty in the College of Management, have also taught in the College of Architecture, Engineering, and Arts and Sciences. So all four of the Lawrence Tech colleges have been part of my background here. And of course, my administrative duties had university-wide applications, so I got to know a lot of people. So my history actually with Lawrence Tech goes back even further than that, though. When I was a kid, I attended a Lawrence Tech basketball game in their heydays back in the 1950s, and I almost came here as a student, but not quite. I ended up at what then was General Motors Institute and Kettering University. It became soon. After that, well, back in the previous millennium, back just prior to the, well, I guess actually it was about 1990 when that change made. And I went on to graduate degree at Wayne State University, became both an engineer at General Motors and a manager at General Motors before coming here, and then spent 37 years here before retiring many years ago.
Great. And it sounds like a very long connection with Lawrence Tech.
Indeed.
And why do you love Lawrence Tech? Or what is so special about it?
Well, it is a very special institution. You know, when I came here, it was essentially 3 academic buildings in a large field. This used to be the Laro Research Farm of General Mills Corporation and was converted into the Lawrence Tech campus in the 1950s. I appreciated the opportunity to have the chance to teach full-time with what at that time was a great background for Lawrence Tech because of the theory and practice emphasis here, because I had 11 years of experience that I could bring to the campus in addition to my education. And I think that worked, quite well with the students. I wasn't that much older than many of them because, in fact, I was much younger than some of them because I had evening students that had worked for General Motors during the sit-down strikes in the 1930s. So, they were considerably older than what I was at that time in many cases. But our classes at that time were often large, 60, 80, 100, 120 students, whereas today Lawrence Tech has evolved into a much different type of institution. I think, much more effective in terms of student education, a lot more personal attention than what we were ever able to give back in those days. But it has developed greatly. I have been very happy to have been a part of that development over the years that I served actively as a paid employee. But even more, I've continued my contributions in whatever ways I can since, working with people such as yourself who have come on the scene much more recently, and continuing to give financially.
Yes, and thank you. Actually, that's a perfect segue into sort of my next question. Well, first of all, how do you give back to Lawrence Tech?
Well, I've contributed to a number of different things. One is the Harris short-term loan fund that students can access if they get into a pinch. It's not intended for long-term consequences, or it is intended to be paid back so that it's available for other students. But that's one way. I've given to each of the colleges of the institution because I feel highly about the mission that each is performing. I'm a cyclist, so I give to the non-motorized program that is essentially a cycling program that uses the pathways on campus and throughout the area. And a couple of other, the ex-techs, the retired Lawrence Tech employees who come back and participate in Lawrence Tech activities. So that's something else that I've made a contribution to, both financially and in terms of developing the program.
Yeah, and volunteer time, I think, as well.
Right.
Yeah. Why do you give back? What is your motivation for doing that?
Well, I subscribe to the theory of practice view of education. I think that Lawrence Tech has an awful lot to give to students. I have embraced something that has come to Lawrence Tech since I was on the active payroll, and that is the athletic program. I think that has been a marvelous addition to the campus, building leadership skills and team building skills that apply outside of athletics just as effectively as they do inside athletics. So, that's another thing that has kept me engaged because of its existence. I'm not much of a spectator anymore for sports, but I used to play a lot of them, and even played some here in the intramural days of Lawrence Tech.
Excellent. And I guess just one last question would be if you could give any message to Lawrence Tech alumni and friends out there, what would that be?
Okay. Well, I'd say learn as much as you can about Lawrence Tech, and contact those of us who are here on campus if you have questions, for sure. And if we can be of any help in connecting you to things that you're interested in about the university, we'd be more than happy to do so.